let you join and take part of this amazing crochet along. Arunima is just an amazing lady, and she hosts this kind of crochet along for the past few years, and I have the privilege of being able to be part of the collaboration this year. And this video is about the block that I designed, which I call the Mosaic Lace block. Let's start off with the pattern. I print out the pattern so I can just go through the printed or the PDF pattern with you. In the front, this is what it will look like, the block. On page 2. On page 2, I show you what you will need, your yarn that you will use for this specific block. It will be the yarn, obviously, that you are using throughout this whole Tunisian along. And then your hook size, the materials. Page 3 is all about the details of the pattern, difficulty, abbreviations, your gauge, approximate dimensions, and the special stitches. We will use Tunisian full stitch and Tunisian double stitch. If you are not familiar on how to work these two stitches, I do have videos on my YouTube channel, and if you have the PDF, which you can get from my website, I do have a live link for you on both these stitches. Page 4 is all about the notes. It's the pattern notes, and then I included a diagram for you, and that is also under the notes with the symbol key to the diagram. And as I'm going to demonstrate to you how this pattern works, I will do both the diagram and our instructions, the written instructions. I will keep these two pages next to each other, and then I will explain to you how the diagram corresponds with your written instructions so that you can understand how to read a diagram if you're not familiar with that, and how that corresponds then obviously now with your written instructions. Now let's just quickly come back again to our notes. I write my patterns in American terminology, although my measurements, I mainly use the metric system and not the imperial system, because I'm from South Africa and we use all the British terminology, obviously. I am way more familiar with using the metric system than imperial, but in my patterns I do try to give you both imperial and metric system measurements. Now the pattern is worked in a multiple of 10 plus 9. In the instructions it says that we will chain 39, but during the demonstration I will use only one pattern repeat of 10 plus 9, which will make 19 chains. And then weight block, sticky notes, information that I add in my patterns. You will also see it on my website. It's when there are some important information that I need you to read. On page 3, I added sticky notes to my special stitches about the Tunisian full stitch and the double stitch. You can just read what it says, but during this demonstration, I will add this info anyway. And these are just general information that I add to my patterns. Now, let's start with our instructions. We will start off with chain 39 and we will do a foundation row. You see, the foundation row is only one row of Tunisian simple stitches. If we have a look at the diagram, this is my foundation row. The F stands for foundation row, and there's the symbol. If we come to the key for those symbols, it's a Tunisian simple stitch, one row of those. Now, if you are not familiar with reading diagrams, I can quickly go through mine with you so that you do understand and have a little bit of background of what to expect. Here are the symbol key to the diagram. This corresponds with conventional crochet for a chain, the symbol for chain. Then if you have a vertical line like this, it indicates a simple stitch. The full stitch, there's a yarn over and Tunisian simple stitch 2 together. That is only a decrease. When you work 2 stitches together, it's basically the same as in conventional crochet. The two different symbols just indicate the direction in which the stitch will be decreased. Even though we work a forward pass, which is always in the same direction, it means, is it the first stitch that we will work with the next one, or will it actually be the second stitch that will be decreasing into your pattern? Then our symbol for the Tunisian double stitch. If I close up this tail, you will see that looks like a symbol for the normal double stitch, but this tail tells me that it becomes a longer stitch, and that is what we are going to do in this pattern. We will work our double stitches one row below, which actually means that if we have a look here at the first row, the second row where the double stitches are worked, I will skip that first row and that tail goes down to my foundation row. So I will work over the previous row that I did. Let's kick off with our foundation chain. So you can chain 39 and then do your first row of Tunisian simple stitch. And here is my foundation row completed. Now you will see that we have to work two different colors. Color A will be the pink during the demonstration, and the blue for color B will still be a blue color. Now obviously I completed my return pass here, but I have to join a new color on my last stitch with a return. So all that I will do, I'm just taking out that first stitch or that last stitch, and I will add my new color. Let's have a look at our first row of the instructions and how it corresponds with the first row on our diagram. That first symbol is my loop that is already on my hook. So all these symbols indicate a Tunisian simple stitch, and that is my first initial loop that's on the hook. So basically you ignore that and jump to the very next symbol for the next stitch. This is the second stitch of your diagram. Now in our instructions it says yarn over twice. There you will see two circles That one corresponds with the second stitch, and the next one, the second, with the third stitch, and that means yarn over. So the next symbol means to decrease 2 stitches that work together, and that will be these 2 Tunisian simple stitches that will be worked together to make the decrease. But if we decrease, obviously your work will grow smaller. But to cancel that out, we have to make that next yarn over, and that is why we have to yarn over twice. So let's do that. The very first stitch, it is skipped. In my instructions, it says yarn over twice, skip 1 Tunisian simple stitch. So that's a one I skip, but I yarn over twice. This one is for the skipped stitch, and the next one is for the next 2 stitches that are worked together, and the loop on the hook with that yarn over will correspond for those 2 stitches. One is decreased, that's why I yarn over, and it makes a stitch for the loop that's on the hook when I did the decrease. The next step is 1 yarn over, and you can see that also in the diagram. And then this step that we did here, we will do again, but we will just mirror it. It's mirrored in our diagram, but when we work it, it's exactly the same as what we did here. We will yarn over, we will skip the next stitch. You can see there's a yarn over and the skip stitch. And the next 2, we will insert the hook underneath both those V-bars, yarn over, pull up a loop, but because we decreased, I have to do a yarn over, but to keep the pattern, I will skip the next stitch and do another yarn over. In my instruction says yarn over, skip a Tunisian simple stitch. So it's twice, skip, and then the next step will be 1 Tunisian simple stitch. Skip 1 Tunisian simple stitch. Let's see how this corresponds now with our diagram and our instructions. Yarn over twice, skip a stitch, work 2 together. I skip another stitch, but the yarn over will be for that skip stitch. Work 2 together. There's a stitch for it. There's a yarn over for the skipped one, or for the decrease. Then I skip another stitch, and that is my second yarn over, and then I will do a Tunisian simple stitch in the next one. The next few steps will again be yarn over, skip a stitch, and do another Tunisian simple stitch. Yarn over, skip 1 simple stitch, and that will be the repeat. Let me do that. Yarn over, skip, make my simple stitch. This will be the pattern repeat. You can see in my diagram I indicated that in red, and in the instructions I made an asterisk at the beginning of that row, and it will end at my last simple stitch. But this part you will not work on your last repeat before the 2 or the double asterisks. So let's start again at a yarn over twice, skip one stitch, work the next two together, yarn over, skip a stitch, work the next two together, yarn over twice, skip the second last, there we are, and do the last stitch on my last repeat. You work as normal. And that is my first row of the mosaic lace pattern. At this stage you can't really see what's going to happen, but don't worry, let's just continue. On my very last stitch I have to do color change. So all I do, I drop the yarn I'm working with, and from the outside I bring the new color, and on the last stitch I will just pull the new color through so that I can start with a new row with a new color on the hook. Before we continue, let's just go through every step in row 1 so that you can check and make sure that you did every single step, because it's important to have every step, otherwise it will influence your final product obviously. So let's have a look. We started with yarn over twice. There's a yarn over and there's another one. Then we skipped one of the stitches on our foundation row. Then we worked two together, and there's the stitch for the two that work together. Then we did another yarn over, we skipped another simple stitch, and we worked two more together. Then we yarn over twice again, we skipped the stitch in the foundation row, and we just work the next one simple stitch. We yarn over again, skip the next simple stitch in the foundation row, and then we work the next stitch simple stitch again, and up to there it is one repeat. Continuing with the start of our row with the steps, we yarn over twice, skip the stitch, work these two together, and there is the stitch that was on the hook for that one. That was decreased, yarn over for the decreased and the stitch on the hook. Then we yarned over again, there's the yarn over, skipped another stitch, work these two together, then we yarned over twice, there's a yarn over and there's another one. You can see that this part of mine twist a bit and I couldn't see the diagonal lines of those yarn overs. Just make sure that you can find them in your work. Now that's the two yarn overs. We skipped another, there you go, another stitch from the foundation, and the last stitch we worked as I did my final stitch in my sample. You will also end here when you did all your repeats for your 39 chains. So continue on all your stitches and make sure that your first row is exactly work like this, and you did not skip any of your steps. Now, if you made sure that your first row is worked correctly, we can move on to row 2. And here I will just use the instructions so that I can help you reading every single step, and that you can just have a look onto your diagram how they correspond. You will see in this row the tail of my double stitch seems like it's worked in this third Tunisian simple stitch on my foundation, but because we worked our second or our first row, we know that those two will work together, and then it means that that tail is actually going into the skipped stitch, and you will find that now when we are going through our instructions for row 2. Now on this row we will just start with a full stitch in the yarn over space. This is my yarn over space. I'll just insert the hook and pull up a loop. Then Tunisian double stitch in the skipped stitch. Now that one is from my foundation row, that one in the pink here, which I skipped. And that is what I explained to you about this tail that looks like it's worked in the third and not that second one that was skipped. I will do a double stitch, meaning yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, and pull through those two, and there's a double stitch. If you are not familiar on working a double stitch, you are welcome to watch my video on my channel that I do have available. I also share a few varieties on working this stitch. We did the double stitch in the skipped, then we will do a simple stitch in the next stitch. We will do another full stitch in the space, and we will do another simple stitch in this one. It's the 2 stitches where the decrease was done. They will just be worked normally in simple stitch. So let's do that. Simple stitch, full stitch, and simple stitch. That was quite easy. To continue, again we will do a double stitch in the skipped stitch, which comes from our foundation. There's the skipped one. We will work into that, and we do a full stitch in that space. So we will work a double stitch and a full stitch. Can you see how our pattern developed? This I will use as a center line. This and that is mirror. There's a double stitch and a double stitch. There's a full stitch and a full stitch. So with this kind of pattern, and especially working with your mosaic and your lace, there's always a mirror of the one side and the other side to repeat your pattern. So we are with the double stitch and the full stitch in the yarn over space. Then we will do a yarn over, we do a yarn over, then we will skip this simple stitch, and we will do a double stitch in the next skipped and yarn over. All right, now this part is again a mirror of each other. So skip for this one, a yarn over, and then I will do a double stitch. Now remember, when you do this, because you did a yarn over, doing a double stitch, you will start with an initial yarn over, to work your double stitch. Don't forget about that, because sometimes as you get familiar with this pattern and you continue, you forget that you do a yarn over, but you have to do another yarn over for your double stitch. And if you do not do that, you will actually use this yarn over to complete your double stitch. And when you come to your next round, you can't find a yarn over because you stole it for your double stitch. So where are we? Double stitch, and then again yarn over, and we will skip this next stitch. Now basically this is my repeat up to this yarn over step, and we skipping that one. The rest will be my next repeat for this pattern. Now let's continue, because all that I will do now is I will start over from this beginning of this row and continue. Remember, you have the 39 stitches. You have to continue with this repeat up to your last repeat, which will end at your double asterisk. So let's do that. The next repeat for me will be a full stitch, then I will do a double stitch into that skipped simple stitch from the foundation row, then I will do a simple stitch into the next one. Let's see if it corresponds with the start. There's the full double stitch, one simple stitch. And now again I can see here what I will have to do to continue. I will do a full stitch in there. We can just go back to what we've done here. Oh, and now I see the next one. I will have to do a simple stitch, a double into that skipped one, a full stitch, and complete the row. So let's do that. Simple stitch, a double into the skipped, there it is, full stitch, and complete my row. Oh, now I just have to look for the correct place to work my last stitch into. And there you can see how our pattern develops. Now you can put your work down and just double check for yourself every single step if you did it correctly, because as you will see, if you skip the stitch, your pattern will not work out correctly and you will get confused. So please make sure that you worked everything correctly. And what makes it nice is that we will start seeing a pattern develop which mirrors. Here you can see there is my little lacy pattern which will be created in this area. There's a lacy and there's a lacy repeat, and it will make a scallop at the bottom because of those sections. This part here with the double stitches, they will develop like this. The diagonal stitches here on the pattern, on the block you will see the white or the cream section is the slanted double stitches. Here I have a double stitch in the center, that is this white line. And now here you will understand how the mosaic will develop, as these skipped stitches on both sides of this double stitch, those are the blue double stitches that makes those 2 lines, and we will continue with that in our next row. And again, here is a lace section, and this is how you will see your pattern evolve, and you will become familiar with how the mosaic is worked and what sections are the lace sections, and how these stitches work together to create this look. Now to do the return, let's just do a color change again. I worked again up to my last stitch. Now I drop this one, take the new color and pull through my last 2 stitches. Now I am ready to start with row 3. And again, just like we did in the first row, we will yarn over twice. This full stitch here we will skip the full stitch. Do you see the wording in row 1 and 2 differs? Because there it was a simple stitch that we skipped. Now it's a full stitch that we skip. Then we will work 2 stitches together. There's the full stitch. I will skip that one, and the next stitch, the next 2, I will work together. Then I will do a yarn over, skip a full stitch, and work the next 2 together again. So I will yarn over, skip a full stitch, and work the next 2 together. Can you see how this corresponds? There my double stitch slants. There's my double stitch on this side that starts to slant, just as I showed you in our picture. Then we have to yarn over twice again, and that corresponds with these initial 2 yarn overs. Yarn over. You see before the double stitch that slants, which we work together with that stitch. That stitch and the double stitch will work together. Those are 2 yarn overs. Now the next step will say skip a full stitch and do a double stitch in a skip simple stitch. So do a double stitch. Oh, look what we are doing again. We already have your 2 yarn overs, but I have to yarn over again to do the double stitch. There's the full stitch that I will skip, and I will work into the blue from my first row, skipped simple stitch, that I will do that double stitch. Make sure here that you have 2 yarn over stitches and not only 1, because of the double stitch that you made, that includes a yarn over in its step as well. Again, we will have to yarn over, and then we will skip a double stitch. We will yarn over and we will skip this double stitch. And then we will double stitch in our next simple stitch on row 1 that was skipped. So yarn over for the double stitch, insert the hook and complete the double stitch. Can you see that my yarn over for that double stitch but I did a yarn over for that double stitch that I just worked as well. Then again, I will start from the beginning of round 3 for my next repeat, because I just completed one. And I will do yarn over twice, skip the full stitch. There's my full stitch. I will skip it. Then I will work the next 2 stitches together, yarn over, skip the full stitch, work the next 2 stitches together, yarn over twice, skip the full stitch, and then I will just finish the end of this row on that last stitch. So that is where I will stop for row 3. You can check your stitch count to make sure that you have all the stitches on your hook or enough loops. So let's count mine: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. That means I do have all my steps or my loops on my hook, because I started with only 19 stitches. I'm not going through the mirror of these stitches now in this row. I want you to put down your work and check for yourself how this pattern develops and how the repeat work out for you. So what I'll do, I'll just finish my return so that we can move on to row 4. Now let's do this for round 4. We will work a full stitch in the yarn over space. Now, just so that you remember, this is the tip in one of the sticky notes, that all the spaces that we work, we will do a full stitch. And something else that I prefer to do, and I actually did it in my sample, is with the next step where we will do a double stitch in the skipped full stitch of the previous row that we have to work in. Instead of working in my front V-bar, I will work around both the V-bars. Now this just make the fabric more sturdy, and I like the appearance of it. It makes the mosaic section in this pattern just more visible. It emphasizes the stitches a little bit better than working in the front V-bar only, but it's personal preference. You can do whichever way you like. It's also what is also one of the tips and one of the things that I do with mosaic crochet. I work it the way that I like the appearance and the way I like how the stitch is behaving, and how that also influenced the final product of the fabric at the end. Now let's continue. We did the double stitch. Then the next we will do the simple stitch. Here's another space for a full stitch, and this is where my lace section will start developing. Then again it will be a simple stitch, then another double stitch, and I will continue working around both of the bars of my full stitches, as that is how I like doing it. Now you can play around and see which way you prefer best, but yeah, that's how I do it. Then a full stitch in this space again. Then we will do a yarn over. Now this is the yarn over, across or over the double stitch in my blue of round 3, and that is where my solid mosaic blue line will start creating. So I will skip it and make a yarn over, because with the next round or next row I will work in that stitch. And again it will be a full stitch. Am I right? No, I'm not right. It's a double stitch. So yarn over again to work a double stitch. Now this one you can just work in the front V bar, and I'll yarn over again to skip this blue double stitch of round 3. And where are we in our pattern? We are done with a repeat, and we will continue starting again from the start with a full stitch, a double stitch in the full stitch of the second row, and again we will do the simple stitch there, full stitch in this space. This is where the lace section develops. Simple stitch, and then a double stitch around my full stitch of row 2, and that should start corresponding with my beginning full stitch, and then work the last stitch as normal. And I can just double check my stitch count: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, and then I will just do my return pass. Here we are done with row 4. Can you see how our pattern is involving the lace sections, the mosaic sections? Now we will continue with row 5. I will just continue with this row still, so that I can make sure that you are fine with all the steps. If you are confident enough to continue on your own just by reading the pattern and reading actually your pattern on your piece as it develops. That is what I do at the end. When I become familiar with the pattern, as I see it developing, I know what to do next with all my steps. Now let's do row 5. We will do 2 yarn over steps, skip my full stitch, work 2 stitches together, yarn over, skip the full stitch, because this is where my lace develop, work those 2 together, yarn over, skip a full stitch, and here is my mosaic section where I will do double stitches, yarn over again to work a double stitch into that one. This is my pink line, and I will yarn over for that one. This one I will do a double stitch, yarn over to do the double stitch, And now I start reading my pattern. I know what to do now. There's a full stitch, so I have to yarn over. There's a double stitch. So what did we do here? Here we work two together. So this double stitch and that simple stitch will be worked together. What did we do here over our lace section? We did a yarn over. So here as well, we do a yarn over our full stitch. Again, you will see that this is the holes of the lace. This side will mirror that side. So as I skip this full stitch, I will work those two together. And what did we do at the start? We did a double yarn over. Where are we in our pattern? We will do 2 yarn overs, skip the full stitch. There's the full stitch, double yarn over, and finish this row. Check the stitch count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Ha! Somewhere I skipped something. Now this is good that this happened, because I know exactly where it is, and I wonder if you can do some troubleshooting on my work. I think if I hold it like this, you can see. Can you see my mistake? I did 1 yarn over there. There's my 2 double stitches, my yarn over for my pink mosaic double stitches. There's a yarn over, 2 of them. Here is only 1. Can you see how you can start reading your pattern on what you have done already? So let me take my work out. Double stitch up, double yarn over, sorry. Yarn over twice, do my decrease, yarn over for my lace, work those two together. What do I have to do here? Yarn over twice and finish my last stitch. Let me do stitch count again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 19. I hope that this will help you to also do some troubleshooting on your own block. And there's my demonstration finish up to row 5. Now I will do a few more rows so that I can show you how I do my bind off at the end of my block. I just did 2 more rows so that you can see the pattern a bit better as it's growing. Now to do the close, we will basically repeat row 4, but to close each stitch as a single crochet stitch. All right, so for example, what we must look at while we are repeating that row 4, where you have to work a full stitch, make a full stitch but complete it as a single crochet. Where you have to work a double stitch, complete it as a conventional double crochet stitch. And where you have to work a simple stitch, insert the hook Tunisian simple stitch wise, but complete the stitch as a single crochet. And where you have to work a yarn over, work the skip stitch by inserting the hook TSS-wise and close as a single crochet. Okay, let's do that. Now let's see what we have to do. Start with a full stitch in the yarn over space. What did we say? We said when we work the full stitch, we complete it as a single. Let's just make our chain for the simple stitch row that we will close with in our space where we should have done a full stitch. We do the single crochet. Then in the full stitch that we skip, we will do a conventional double crochet stitch. In the simple stitch, we will do a single crochet. In the space, again a single crochet. In the simple stitch, a single crochet. Next, we will have to do a double crochet in that skipped full stitch where we would have done a double Tunisian double. Then again in the space, instead of a full, a simple stitch. Next, a simple stitch. Here we have our double stitches. We will do a double crochet. And a single crochet. And again a single crochet. And the full stitch that we skip, a double crochet. In a simple stitch we do a single crochet. The full stitch, this one we skip because it's part of our lace, so instead of a full stitch we will make a single crochet, and again a single in the simple stitch. This full stitch we would have worked a double stitch and we make it a double crochet, and instead of a full we make a single, and we complete our last stitch with a single. And there is our mosaic lace block completed, and I hope that this demonstration helped you and that you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of this crochet along.